In this video, I'm going to show you how to decorate a dessert style cake using this cake decorating kit from Kootek. Hi, it's Karolyn. If you want to learn how to bake and decorate amazing cakes, then I would love for you to join me by hitting subscribe and the bell. So today's video is a beginner-friendly video, and I'm going to show you how to decorate a dessert style cake using this cake decorating kit from Kootek. And Kootek was so sweet. They reached out to me and they did send me this cake kit for free in turn for me to make a video showing you how I use the tools and supplies that are included in this kit. So I am starting with my cake already baked and filled, and I have videos showing you how I bake and fill cakes, and that will be all linked in the description along with this kit and any other tools that I use in this video. That will all be linked below. And then I'm going to open the box. I'm going to show you what's included in the box, and we're going to ice the cake. I like to say ice the cake. So many people say frost the cake. I don't like frost. I'm going to show you how I ice the cake, and then we're going to do a simple decoration using the combs and the tools that are included in this kit. And before we get started, I just want to let you know that I am now available for one-on-one phone calls or Zoom calls. If you have any cake decorating questions or if you need some advice, you can book a call with me. All that information is listed in the description. So let's get started. All right, so here is the box that it comes from, and I'm just going to open this up. All right, I have everything open. So it looks like what is included in this kit is a bunch of disposable icing bags, 2 reusable icing bags. We have some icing smoothers and combs, an icing coupler, a flat spatula and an offset spatula, this turntable, nice turntable, and a bunch of cake decorating tips. And there's also a little booklet here that shows you the different results that you can get from using the different tips. So let's start by frosting our cake. So this turntable is very nice, but it is very lightweight and it could easily move around as you're using it. So what I like to do in this instance, I have this shelf liner. I will link this below, and I just want to put some shelf liner underneath it and then on top. So this is going to grab onto the cake, and the shelf liner on the countertop is going to prevent this from sliding around as you're using it. But the turntable rotates very smoothly. It's very nice. Now I baked and filled my cake, and it has been settling for a couple hours. This is a 3-layer 6-inch cake, and I have videos showing you how I bake and fill my cakes, and I will link that below. All right, so we want to start with a crumb coat. I do have a bowl of my delicious American buttercream frosting, and I have videos showing you how I make this, and I will link that below. So when I am frosting cakes, I prefer to use an offset spatula. I just find it a little easier to work with. However, you can use a flat one if you prefer. Either one works. I'm just going to grab a little bit of icing and place it on the side, and I have my finger down here so I can control it, and I'm just spreading a really thin coat around the entire cake. So what I like to do is spread icing around the bottom half and then do it around the top half, let the icing stick out over the top, then fill in the top with some more icing. And then I'm going to use my blade. I'm going to wet it under hot water to get the blade really hot, wipe off the excess water, and hold it straight to smooth it out. Get rid of the excess icing and repeat the process. Heat up the blade and smooth it out. I want to make sure I'm holding that blade straight, and then I want to press this excess icing back onto the cake and remove the excess and put it back into the bowl. And this looks good. Well, actually, it doesn't look good. It's a crumb-coated cake, and we are going to make it look a lot better once this has time to set in the refrigerator. So I want to put this in the fridge for about at least 4 to 5 hours so the butter and the icing can solidify, and it will hold its shape, and it will be so much easier to work with. So let's stick this in the fridge. So I have an icing bag. I like these disposable ones. And what I like to do is fold down the top and just open it up, and to use the coupler, I like to stick the coupler in and see how far down it goes. And then you don't want to cut it, you want to cut just this plastic off at the top. So just make a little note, and then I'm just going to snip that off. And there, that fits perfectly. All right, to fill a bag, I just like to get a cup or something like that and stick it in there. And I made some colored icing. This is just some teal buttercream. You don't want to overfill these bags because they're a little difficult to handle if there's too much icing in them. And let's see what tip we want to use first. I'm going to go in order. So I'm going to show you all the tips that are included in this kit. This is tip number 1. I'm just going to put the tip on and then put this part on top and screw it on and it'll hold the tip on. And then what I like to do is get all the icing to the bottom by pressing this against the side of the countertop. And it pushes it all down. And a couple options. You can fold it in and then fold it down. Or you can squeeze it in at the top and twist. Whichever's more comfortable for you. I like to do it this way. So let's review all of the tips that are included in this kit. This round tip is great for piping names or swags. This basket weave tip, I love basket weave. It's such an old school skill, but it's such a cool pattern. So you do vertical lines and then horizontal lines and then you stagger and it just gives a really cool effect on your cake. This leaf tip is really cool too. So you put the tip down on the board and then lift up. And as I lift it to the top, I stop squeezing so it can come to a point. This twisted star tip, you can squeeze it out just like that. Or what I like to do is put the tip down and then twist it as I'm squeezing, stop squeezing and lift it. This open star tip that you can make classic shell borders. I love this open star tip. It's one of my favorite tips. What I prefer to do is a reverse shell. So you start one way and you twist in and then you twist out. I do that on tons of cakes. See, this cake over here has that reverse shell border. This closed star tip is good for doing swirls. I prefer to do swirls with something like this. I think it looks really pretty. This small star tip, I used to use when I would do pattern transfers and then fill them in with icing. I love that effect. This grass tip, I still use the grass tip all the time. You squeeze and then stop squeezing as you lift it up. And you can see on this cake, I still use this grass tip. I absolutely love it. This closed star tip, it just gives a little different effect. You could do swirls, you could just squeeze it out, but you could see the different effects that it gets, different textures. And the same for this closed star tip. So you could squeeze it out and just have the stars or twist it and have little flowers as well. And I love this tip as well. It gives a pretty cool little swirl pattern and you can also do like a reverse shell with it. And lastly, this petal tip I love to do buttercream ruffles with. All right, I want to put one more thin coat of icing on here and then I'm going to use the comb to add some texture. So this icing underneath is pretty solid since I put it in the fridge, so it's not going to mess up the cake. And again, I just want to get icing around the entire thing and have it stick over the top of the edge. I'm going to wet that under hot water to heat the blade, wipe off the water, and then just smooth this out. And I'm holding this blade straight against the cake so the cake is straight down the sides. And I just want to get rid of this excess icing. And this doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to be putting a border around the top. But I'm just holding this flat, pressing it back, and getting rid of the excess icing. Now I want to add a little bit of texture with the comb. And when you're doing it with a comb, I like to have one fell swoop the whole way around. I find that if you start like here and then bring it to here and then have to start again, it's going to create like a seam or a line. So what I like to do, and I hope my arm isn't in the way when I do this, but I'm going to hold this against the cake and then I'm going to bring my arm all the way around on this side because look, once I unwind it, it's one full turn, okay? So I just want to hold this straight against the side of the cake and get this pattern in here. So I'm going to put it actually in on an angle a little bit, not just straight against the cake. And I'm just bringing this icing in, just refining this top edge. This is going to be covered with a top border, so it doesn't have to be perfect. See how I'm bringing it in? And I just want to smooth out the top a little bit, so I have a little bit of water on here. This is hot water, and it's going to smooth out the icing. This may look a little bit of a mess right now, but don't worry, it's gonna look so much better when we have all the decorations on it. Now, I have a video where I go into complete detail on how I ice smooth buttercream cakes, and I will link that in the description. This looks good. Let's set this back in the fridge for like 20 minutes for it to solidify. All right, just got that out of the fridge. And before I decorate it, I just want to take a wet paper towel and wipe the entire cake board just to get rid of that excess icing. All right, so on the bottom border, I want to do a reverse shell border. So I have this K36 tip that I'm going to use this purple icing. And I like to find what the front of my cake is going to be. So I just look to see what looks the best. I think this looks the best. So I'm going to start in the back. And I'm going to turn this with my bottom hand and do the border with my top hand, with my right hand. So I'm going to start here. I'm squeezing, I'm turning it to the right and then coming to the left and in, right? And then I'm going to go the other way. So turn it to the left, coming down the right and stop squeezing. So I'm going to do this the entire way around the whole thing. And when it comes into the back, I just let it meet. And that's why it's the back of the cake. For the top border, I want to use this K38 tip, and I want to make some swirls. So I'm going to start in the back and right along the edge. So I'm going to cover up all this jagged looking edge so you're not going to be able to see it. So I'm going to squeeze, turn it to the right and lift up as I'm turning and then stop where it comes to a point. Let's do this the whole way around. So I'm squeezing and turning and lifting, stop squeezing, and then it comes to a point. That looks pretty. Let's make it a little more festive with some nonpareils. And that's why I have this tray down here to catch any excess. And I do have this tray on top of the turntable. So these can get everywhere. What I want to do is pour a little bit in the cap and then just sprinkle it on. And I'm going to do the same on the purple part on the bottom. Just going to get rid of the excess. Now for the final touch, we need to put a ribbon around the border. So I got this ribbon on Amazon. I can find it and link it below. Where it overlaps, cut it. And I have this non-toxic glue stick. So what I like to do is take the lid and I'm just pressing it against the side just to really flatten out this foil. And I have a video showing you how I make these boards and I will link that in the description. This is a non-toxic glue stick and I'm going to get some glue around the entire perimeter of the board. And then I'm getting glue all the way on the back of this ribbon. And starting in the back where that icing met, pressing it against the side, wrapping it the entire way around. So the part of the ribbon that has the glue on it is touching the board that has the glue on it. And where it overlaps here, just get a little more glue down and press this down. Run your finger over it. So I'm just doing one more time for good measure and I'm just pressing the ribbon against the board. And here is your beautiful dessert style cake. So here you go. This is so pretty and so simple to make, and it didn't take a lot of time, and it is very beginner friendly. A little review on what I think about the stuff that is included in this kit. I do love this turntable. It turns very smoothly, a lot smoother than the Wilton one that I have. However, it is lightweight, so like I showed you, I like to have this non-slip pad on the very top and underneath to prevent everything from sliding around. I do love the icing bags. I didn't show me using the reusable icing bag, but that's just because I didn't feel like cleaning it. But those are really good for if you're going to use them for like icing many cupcakes and you need to keep refilling the bag. That's going to hold up much better than using the reusable bags. But both of them are really good quality. I absolutely love the textured comb that comes with it. I didn't use the icing scrapers. What I would probably use them for is to scrape the sides of my bowls to clean them out. And a lot of those tips that were included in this kit are wonderful as well. Now they do have other other kits that have different tips that are included, but the one that I'm going to link in the description is going to be this very kit that I used in this video. And I did this plain, but you can decorate this however you want. This is a nice canvas for you to stick some, you could put a cake topper in here, you could write a name on the top and happy birthday or whatever, but even if you just need to bring a simple cake to a party, this is perfect. So I think that's it. What new techniques did you learn in this video? I would love to know. Leave it in the comments below. Please like this video if you liked it, and if you are enjoying my tutorials, I would be so grateful if you could buy me a coffee. My link is pinned in the comments below. And you can keep in touch on socials and check out my website. Everything is listed in the description. And if you want to stick around, you can watch this video next and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and thank you to Kootek for sending me this kit. And remember, it's cake, have fun. I will see you on the next one. Bye.